Okay, so Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I had just watched it. Um, what can I say about this movie? This movie is quite heavy. It's one of the heavier MCU films. Now, it's hard to talk about this movie without spoiling a key point in this movie, so I'm going to try to be as vague as possible by just saying things go down and the Guardians have to go on an adventure. It's hard to talk about it because even when you watch the trailers, it doesn't tell you much about the story, but just know it's heavy and it does touch on Rocket's backstory a good bit. Now, I felt personally that some of the jump cuts at the beginning of this movie were a little weird. But it does focus up. Now, I do wanna talk a little bit about Adam Warlock, especially considering he's kind of a waste in the MCU at this point. He wasn't utilized like he should have been in the Infinity Saga. Meaning, so essentially, in this movie, he is completely useless. He has nothing to do in this movie. It really hurts my viewing of the movie because there will be moments where he shows up, and I'm like, I forgot this guy was in this movie. I think Will Poulter is a good actor, just not for Adam Warlock. He was just there. He didn't have anything to do. He was completely useless the entire time, and they kind of made a joke out of him. That kind of bothers me a little bit. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I am a huge comic book guy. I'm really not. But I know the story. I know the importance of Adam Warlock, and he just wasn't there. Whoever was on screen was not Adam Warlock, but that is probably the worst part of the movie. I didn't like it. However, everything else actually landed for me. For the most part, some of the humor still bothers me because it feels very Disney. it's Disneyfied at the end of the day, but it didn't hinder my experience watching this because I expected to hate this movie. I expected to just not want anything to do with this movie. So thankfully, I gave this movie a chance. I heard it was good. I gave it a chance, and thankfully, I walked away pretty satisfied for the most part. It is a heavy movie. It is a little more mature, if I can say that. There's definitely, it's probably a bloodier MCU movie, and outside of Netflix, I don't think we've seen something quite as intense. So that was it. It was a little weird for sure, and it's also the first MCU film to drop the F-bomb. I thought that was extremely weird. It also felt a little forced. Now, my opinion of it is they were doing that to sort of, dip their toes into a potential R-rated film. And I think that is their way of trying to see the audience reaction, so they could actually see how a Deadpool 3 in the MCU would work. Outside of that, I thought this was a very well done movie. The jokes didn't ruin any of the more serious scenes. Chris Pratt was great in this movie. I think Chris Pratt and Bradley Cooper were great. They were good in this movie. Definitely Chris Pratt. He's a standout. I like Rocket's character. He does seem kind of underused until the very end. Again, I don't want to spoil too much about it, but those two were the standouts. This was a good send-off to the Guardians of the Galaxy, at least the original team. Granted, I don't know what they plan on doing going forward. The way they ended it seemed like there is a possibility these characters could return. At least one character could return. But overall, I really dug this movie. I had a good time with it. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's like the best thing to come out in a long time. Well, maybe it is, but uh, it's definitely a standout MCU film. As someone who is just tired of the Disney made MCU films, they just don't have a whole lot of passion. It's nice to see this one actually had some heart to it. And I think with Guardians of the Galaxy, it should have heart. So, with that being said, if I were to rate this movie, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good. There were some things, like I said, Adam Warlock I just wasn't a big fan of. I thought he was very useless, and it really solidified everyone's opinions who understands the importance of Adam Warlock, why he was needed in the Infinity Saga. So with that being said, let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you see it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? I'm open to discussion. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye for now.